Hi everybody, my name is Darpro and I'm Sonic Adventure 2 Battle Speedrunner. Today we'll be talking about something called Pumpkin Hill Wall Run. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about glide extending. This is a pretty simple piece of tech that you see a lot of runners doing, but it's important to discuss why we actually do it. It's not just mashing buttons for the sake of mashing buttons. So one of the key things to realize at Knuckles glides is that they start out pretty flat. You can go pretty far, but as you fly farther, your downward speed starts increasing and increasing and increasing. And it's always increasing, and it gets pretty significant. So you can see that at first I was really going pretty horizontal, and now we're not even close. We're going really far downwards. So eventually that negative speed's going to reach a maximum at about negative 0.8, but that's pretty significant. And that limits where you can get in a stage, because if you need to get to something that's pretty close to the same height you are, and you're losing a lot of height, it's not going to work. So glide extending is a trick that we use to basically make continued use of the fact that the game lets us start a glide at a pretty horizontal level. So all you have to do this is just do a tiny drill dive and keep gliding. Sounds really simple, right? The inputs are not hard. The trick is doing it optimally. So all it really is this. Drill dive glide. Drill dive glide. Drill dive glide. However, the real trick is that you don't want to just do it like that because you lose a lot of height. What you want to do is do it extremely optimally. The better you can get your inputs, the more height you're going to retain. And I'll just climb my way up here because I can't steer Knuckles. So, the biggest obstacle people have is getting the inputs right. You really want it to look good. Like, look at that. That's not even necessarily optimal, it's just good enough. So if you don't even see a little Knuckles shadow following you around, you're doing pretty good in your inputs. And that's what you want. But there's actually a trick to getting it. So the real key that you have to get over is being willing to take your hand totally off the buttons for a moment, and that's what always gets people. The input's just, in my case, XA. But it's almost doing the opposite of a bounce. But the real key here is to feel confident in the fact that you can take your hand totally off the controller for a moment and slap it back down on those inputs. And that's what always gets people. People always try to, like, be off the controller for a minimum amount of time. You get weird stuff like... You get really awkward inputs, and then you get stuff like that. And if you do that in a place like Death Chamber Out of Bounds where there's a kill plane, you are in deep trouble, buddy. So you don't want to do that. The real confidence increaser here is to realize that you can just take your thumb off the buttons for a moment and get it done slowly and properly. So if you glide along and you let go of the control or let go of the button, he doesn't fall that fast. So you actually have a lot of time before you really start losing any significant height. So just take your thumb off the controls and do the button calmly. You can probably hear through the microphone just how much time I'm letting him fall, and it doesn't change my height at all. So that's the trick. There's really not much more to it. If you practice doing that input solidly, you'll get perfectly good glide extends. And as you get better, you can get more height retained through your glides, and then you can get to a lot more places. And this becomes really critical in things like Death Chamber Out of Bounds and Aquatic Mine Out of Bounds, where if you go below the stage, you're in trouble. So yeah, that's all there is to it. It's really quite an easy piece of tech. It's just there's a little hurdle that people tend to need to get over to get confident with it. So yeah, give it a shot and see what you think. Thanks for watching.